Oops, I probably should have set up the phone before I started doing this. Oh well. Today I'm working on my Ahsoka Tano belt. Oh, here we go. Let's try. There we go. That's better. If you follow me on Instagram, this is something I started working on just the other day, but after finishing what I did the other day, I found that hemming was not the best solution for what I wanted to do with this. So I had to tear out all my stitches. You can kind of see from the, well, maybe you can see, I don't know, the camera's that good. From the folds here and stuff. Basically what happened is once I hemmed it, the entire thing, this is supposed to be the outside here, it would have been hemmed like so, but it just kept curling under because the microfiber suede or whatever I got here didn't really hold up to being hemmed and staying flat, which is not the desired effect for this underbelt. So what I'm going to do instead, I cut a second one. I'm going to sew them together with the right sides facing in. Once I do that, I'm going to flip it around. I think one's slightly bigger than the other. There we go. Once I do that, then I'm going to find some interfacing to iron on the inside here in between where the seams are. I don't have it right now. I'm going to have to go buy some. All of the interfacing I have is much stiffer than I'm going to need for this. This doesn't need to be a real stiff thing. It just needs to be a little extra support. So the thin iron-on interfacing will do the trick, which I'll have to go and buy at a later date because I haven't been to Joann's in a few weeks. Well, yeah, I haven't been to Joann's in a few weeks, and I haven't been to Joann's since I decided to change this. So, once that's done, then I will turn the entire thing inside out from one of the ends here. I'll leave one of the ends open, which probably this one since I'm starting here. And then once I've got it flipped inside out, it'll be much stiffer and keep the shape that I want it to. So we will just go ahead and start. Everything's still lined up. Make sure the tension is good. One thing I was pretty lucky about is that since this is a microfiber cloth, you can't see the holes that I poked from my previous attempt at hemming very well because this is a very forgiving fabric. So it's not like if I were to be doing silk brocade or wax canvas where you poke a hole in it and it stays there absolutely forever and, well, you're screwed. You got to get a new fabric. threads that I missed when I was tearing out the previous sewing. Oh, and then here what I'm doing, to reiterate, I've got the needle down, pinched through the fabric. Most sewers know this trick, but I suppose newbies do not. Then you just lift up the foot, and I can pivot it at a 90-degree angle without the thread getting mushed up at the bottom and creating spaghetti or losing my place. Or anything like that, and then you don't have to try and turn a corner while it's moving, which is hard and impossible if you want actually a straight, perfect corner. Sorry, my pedal's not where I want it to be. And yeah, the whole reason I hand wheel so that I can get those extra stitches just right to the edge where I want it. So when I turn it, the fabric is right aligned with the side of the foot, which is the hem distance that I'm going for currently. Make sure everything's flat. I don't want it bubbling up in the middle. That would be bad when I turn it inside out, then one side will have more fabric than the other. You might have noticed while I was doing the other side here, there are some spots where I've got little notches or V's. Well, I guess V's are like notches. These are more just like cuts. I'd done that to try and get the fabric to lay flat as I curled it under when I was doing the hemming. Usually that works. It didn't work very well with this fabric. It's probably because it's got a bit of a stretch to it. Just a little, or just because it's really floppy, or maybe I didn't make enough notches. Either way, the hemming just didn't do what I wanted it to, so we're not doing that anymore. Sorry, just checking here to make sure I had double stitched the end, which I did. And there's a bit of a loop that I didn't want. Okay. have it. Nice, evenly done from the edge. Well, from one of the edges. As you can see, they don't quite match up because I just traced the other one using the first one, which is the greatest thing to do, but like this is all going to be hidden on the inside of the piece, so it doesn't matter. If it ends up being kind of bubbly when I do turn it inside out, I can always do another top stitching, which will end up being just on the inside here, of course on the other side, to keep the edges nice and crisp. Like I said, since I don't have the interfacing, I'm done with this particular item for the day. This is a blank belt that I bought from Tandy Leather. It is enormous. As you can see, here's my waist. I can wrap it around more than twice, which is way more than I need. Let's see. This is going to be the overbelt. And I haven't done this before, so this should be interesting. My husband assured me that I will not asphyxiate myself doing this in the house, so we're going to give it a try. It is a leather dye. So I'm just going to go ahead and dye the entire belt before I cut it up, which will hopefully not leave like weird uncolored ends. If it does, I'll just re-dye those ends once I cut it, because I really don't know exactly how long all the pieces I want to do will be, because it's going to have one piece that goes all the way around. There's going to be an opening in the back with like a larger item that I'm going to have to do with another piece of leather, but we've got extra in the basement, and that's what I'll use for that. And then it's going to have these little kind of loopies or something that will attach to the center ring on the belt, and that's also how the hip armor will attach. The table expanded. This is a very long belt, and I don't want it hanging off the table while it's being dyed. It's actually longer than the table, just a little bit. We'll get some newsprint paper so that I don't dye my table. Not that it entirely matters. There's like a little, I've already marked it up with markers and things. Either way, I don't want big brown stains on it. Why are you using newsprint from a notepad, you may be wondering. Well, we just recently threw out all of our junk mail, and I don't really want to go digging through the trash. Also, I'm 35. I don't have a subscription to the newspaper. If I want to read an article, I just go on the internet like most people my age. Plus, this notebook was like $2, and I bought it over a decade ago, and it still has all this paper left, so this is fine. doing this a little smarter. Putting it, just doing them vertically. Put them horizontally. Good job, dummy. Trying to figure out what's in that bag. It's the receipt. Okay. Instructions. Shake well. Bye-bye sponge. I'm gonna have to go and get a sponge. It's one thing I don't actually have up here. But we have sponges in the basement, so it's cool. I think I don't have a sponge. No, I don't have a sponge. I've got toothbrushes and paintbrushes, but no sponge. All right. Distribute even circular motion, allow dry and buff. So this will be an experiment for everyone. Had it earlier before. I will just take this with me so you're not sitting here dead air while I go and get the sponges. You know, every time we go to Dick Blick or Harbor Freight, they have like a giant bag of sponges on stick. Sponges on a stick on sale at like, for like $1 or whatever. So I know we have them. I just have to discern. Here we go. My husband's, that'll work. Organization system. Or lack thereof. You didn't hear me say that? That one actually was in the drawer. It was labeled as, though, so I'll give him credit for that. Sometimes he rearranges them and then I don't know where it is. Okay, back to what we were doing. Okay, let's see. It says tear. Are my fingernails strong enough? It doesn't feel like it. Get a little screwdriver. There we go. Press in and turn. Oh, okay, cool. It's got like this little locking lid and squirt thingy. Make sure this is over. Oh, good job. I tried to keep it all over the newspaper and I failed. But at least the newspaper's doing its job. Yes, I'm glad I doubled up on that. Get that extra with the tissue. I'll have to come back with some cleaner later. Circular motions, it says. distribute evenly. Well, circular is really hard with a long skinny thing like this, so I'm going to do back and forth and hope it turns out okay, because it's a lot easier to distribute evenly like this. Got a whole lot in the middle here because I squirted way more than I wanted to. Good news, my husband was right. I am not asphyxiated currently. This doesn't have a really strong smell to it. Let's get some extra newspaper, see if we can dab the really thick spots. That's coming off here. Really thick. Sorry, I got some dog hair in my mouth. This is interesting. It's dye, but I'm not seeing it totally penetrate the side like a fabric dye would. So I'll have to probably go back and do the edges when the top's a little more dry, because I don't really want to handle it with the top still having all the juicy stuff on it. Well, it's definitely dark brown. There is that. Oh no. I should have started on the end. Oh well. We'll be able to pick that part up. It's fine. There we go. You can see the part I'm working on a little bit better. And if I fail miserably, then you know what? I'll just have an extra belt, I guess. Sorry, it's starting to fall off the edge. There we go. I guess we'll do this in sections, since I cannot quite do the entire thing out flat unless I was going to go and like use my dining room table, which is definitely not something I want to do. Like if I get this all messy, whatever, it's just a craft table. As long as it's not getting the fabric that I cut on it stained brown months later, then I'm fine. Sorry, I don't know if you can see this side of the screen very well, because I've got it on my cell phone and the chat is there. So I don't know how it shows up, like when you're watching, or if the chat's collapsible. I suppose it probably is, and I don't need to keep turning everything so far center, but whatever. Just as another reminder, love to hear from you guys, to let me know what you enjoy seeing me doing, what like angle you like watching the sewing from, perhaps. Is it best from the front? Is it best from the back? Does it depend on what I'm doing?